Okay, in this example, I wanted to go over equivalent annual annuity, or what we call equivalent annual cost. And how I'm going to do that is I'm going to walk you through the homework problem in Chapter 8 on page 251. Now, when you do your reading through page 241 to 242 on equivalent annual annuity slash equivalent annual cost, it's a way for us to help make comparisons when making decisions between purchasing perhaps two pieces of equipment, or that is that we have to make a decision between the two pieces of equipment. And this is going to be what you'll need to use for your paper in week 5. I want you to pick something that would interest you, whether it's two different cars or two different hot water heaters, or do I go with the hot water heater that is instant hot water that never has to have it constantly heated, which may cost a lot more up front, but perhaps it has less cost over the long run. So it's to help you make decisions in your personal life and also in business examples too. So bottom line, we look at explicitly what would be the better choice. But also what I want you to do in your paper too is to think about implicitly, even though one might be more expensive, is it more important to you have that for implicit reasons? Like I need to have a nice car, or I need luxury seats with leather in them and heated seats. So, that's going to vary based on what's important to you, and I want you to kind of include that in your paper. But with the example on page 251 with the homework problem, we're told that there's two machines, the Econo-Cool and this Luxury Air. And the Econo-Cool, although cheaper, costs $300 and lasts for 5 years, and estimated the cost at the end of each time period is $150 at the end of each year. And at that end of the 5 years, you would have to buy a new machine and replace it. The Luxury Air is much more expensive. It costs $500, but has operating cost of $100 for an 8-year time period. And again, we would have to replace it at the end of 8 years, but it's kind of making a comparison. Well, which one's actually the better deal? Which one's going to be the lower equivalent annual cost? And the way we can do that is we need to look at the present value of these costs. For the present value of cash flow zero, when you buy the machine for the Econo-Cool, is $300, and for the Luxury Air, the present cost at day zero is $500 for the Luxury Air. So what we need to do is we need to discount back all these costs to day zero. What is the present value of all these costs today? And the same thing for the Luxury Air. Assuming that I could earn 21% in this account, I could go out and make those same withdrawal funds out of an account to make these $150 or $100 payments. So what we're going to use next is we're going to go to the net present value function and go back up to f of x, and under financial we're going to find net present value. Let's go down there. I'm going to hit OK. Notice it says that the rate, we're going to use the 21% that's in the homework problem. The values, I'm just going to click on the values that I've already put in here. So we have negative $150 for the first year, negative $150 for the second, negative $150 for the third, the fourth, negative $150, and finally, in this case, you can just hit Tab. It will bring you down to the next value 5 cell, and I'll click in the negative $150. And when I do that, it tells me that the present value of all the cost in the future is $438.89. So I'm going to hit OK. But what I've done down here is I said, all right, we need to sum up the present value of these costs. I have negative $300 and $438.90, and I get $738.89 as the present value of the cost. Well, once you know the present value of the cost, we can then find a equivalent annual annuity or equivalent annual cost, and we're going to use payment function Excel for this. So I'm going to go back up to f of x. Under financial, we're going to find payment. Hit OK. The rate is going to be the same interest rate of the 21%. Our number of periods lasts for 5 years. And I'm just going to click on the present value of those costs, the negative $738.89. And the future value is going to be 0, but when I hit OK, it now gives me an equivalent annual cost of $252. And now I can make a comparison with the Luxury Air. So the Luxury Air cost more. Is it actually cheaper for me to buy the more expensive machine with the lower annual cost that lasts for 8 years? So again, we're going to find the present value of all those costs. So go to f of x, look for net present value, hit OK. Again, our interest rate is going to be 0.21, and I'm just going to, just for the sake of time, I'm going to put in negative $100 and just kind of tab through that process for 8 years. There, 5th, 6, 7, and 8. Okay, so we find out present value is negative $372.55. I'm going to hit OK there. And when I sum up my present value of the cost, I get $872.55. And the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do the payment function again. So go back to f of x. Under financial, we're going to find payment. I'm going to hit OK. Again, my interest rate is for 21%. The number of periods in this case was for 8 years. And I'll click in that present value of the $872.55. And I find out that I get $234.20. So when making the comparison, if I've done all my math here correctly, yeah, it looks like everything's good. So we got 252.53 from the text and 234.21, so we match up okay. So the luxury air, although more expensive, is the better option to go with, because it saves you, about not quite $20, but a little close to $20 in savings. Thinking about a payment based on it for each year. So that ends our lesson on equivalent annual annuity. And again, this is something that you'll use. I guess again, I want you to use much more detail when you make your decision comparison of goods. What goes into these costs. Like you think about a car, you've got insurance, you've got property taxes, you've got fuel costs, you've got maintenance costs. So if you were to choose to do something like a car, really think about what all those costs would be, and how much would that cost be over that time period. Maybe the Ford Taurus will last 5 years, but maybe the Toyota Camry will last 10 years. So that wraps up our lesson on equivalent annual cost.